throughout the day, but right now they want to start the momentum. That early game in the day is the hardest. A lot of the teams from Asia, from Korea, from Taiwan, China are all saying we're a little worried about the jet lag that's going to be coming in here. They're not used to playing, as we said, on American soil, and you know, the first time for a lot of them. So this is going to be very big that these teams can come out fast with that first blood.
So Invictus is playing a bit aggressively from the start. Jarvan tosses a flag out there, tries to check in. Corky, oh, this is super cute. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be really interesting because he spots Cloud Templar there, and the rest of the team is ready to follow up. They know Cloud, he's the jungler there. He's gonna start at the Wraith camp. Invictus, they're already starting out with the tricks. If you look at Frost lineup, it's all defensive. They're watching brushes. They're just camping around, trying to wait for things to happen, and they're just next to each other. This is I can't do anything but giggle here. This is going to be amazingly ridiculous.
You know, Freak, this is absolutely awesome. It's really just a high-level use of the Fog of War, knowing where they're going to stand, knowing that nobody really walks to that position, just already inside the mind of your opponent.
And here comes the invade. They're going to try to get Cloud Templar.
And they go in, they get the Zenith on a rapid start. Another Valkyrie from Kid. They will get the exhaust on it. First blood goes to Invictus. Beautiful aggression. Azubu Frost didn't know what hit them.
That was exactly the right opening, and just that overall strategy was perfect. Invictus starting things out right. They used Jarvan flag to check over the brush, make sure no one was there. Then they sent Corky over to Valkyrie, then he became a living ward. Sat there, you know, took on the role of Evelyn as a living ward, and made sure that they knew what exactly the other team was up to. And okay, ran into the Wraith camp, get it started. It's a very good opening start.
3.2 for Azubu Frost now, not in the bag. They were not able to out-aggress there, but they can still turn it around. That first blood does not mean the matchup, so we'll have to see what they can bring out here as the buffs are somewhat being denied on their side. Good damage in mid from Zatai as he starts to go aggressive on Rapid Star. He is level 2 to his level 1. More than happy to deal out that pain.
That's what's going to happen when you come up there with first blood and a lot of extra aggression and farm on the jungle. And IG is actually lane swapped here, so PDD is going to be alone at this bottom lane as Jarvan. He's going to have to try to last hit against that turret. Meanwhile, Kid 1v1 up against Jax. Takes a bit of damage as a result there. He's got to be a little bit careful there. They've got an interesting sort of range versus melee dynamic in both of these side lanes.
Shy may be shy in just that, but he knows when to take the aggressive pokes and win that damage trade. Leona now returning to top lane. A very good push here coming from Zatai. Vladimir, not a horrible farmer as a turret. He can keep himself going, but Swain's going to want to roam that lane. Zatai gets all over the place. Back to top lane. Shy just milling about, trying to keep himself in a safe position. They do have an early ward down in that tri-bush behind them for Invictus. So they're going to make sure they see, actually, Cloud Templar coming up now. Or rather, they see Illusion.
Overall, this lane swap rather is really good for Invictus. They're trying to shut down Jax, that late game carry, and that's really, really advantageous here. If you compare to PDD on Jarvan, he's got two abilities that can farm from range, so he's more or less safe in this 1 vs 2. And actually a gank coming off in this top lane there, a lot of damage on a Shy.
Shy getting out, having to pump those potions. He is up with 2 more, so he's going to be all right in the lane for a while. He is going to want to go back and get a ward when he can, but he doesn't want to throw himself out of the lane so he can continue to soak up that XP.
Madlib doing a good job pushing on aggressively. There's the stun on the wall. PDD's got to run away from this.
Yeah, he is aggressive. He does have the blue buff, but he's got to be careful of how much damage he takes, because the blue buff, it's not going to heal you. Those potions are going to be gone quite fast, and you can still see aggression from Zatai in mid. Rapid Star isn't getting a chance to get in there.
This is really playing the Swain advantage really well right now. Swain is great at being a lane bully, especially if your mechanics can support last hitting, continue to keep your mana up with that passive. See again, Jarvan forced to last hit under turret, but he's going to be reasonably safe doing that. The Golem buff that was donated over, giving him some mana regeneration and lower cooldowns, allowing him to use both basic attacks and abilities to farm up onto minions. You can see here Jax at 15 and Jarvan at 17. There is a slight advantage here due to that lane swap.
PDD trying to get the poke down, as he does have the cooldowns and the mana for it. He should just be spamming those out, but making sure he can farm. A good push here coming from Kid and Jiao top. They do have the ward down, so they can now pressure Jax against his turret. Quite low mana for Zatai. Has to be careful in middle as he goes aggressive once again to Rapid Star. He's really keeping tabs on him and making sure he has to stay at the turret. It's really helping.
Absolutely, this is still, it's Vladimir's early game being very, very unsafe. You're going to see this pressure continue for a while. Once Vlad gets up to level 6 or 7, he'll start turning around, he can sustain himself and kind of be under the boot a little bit less. But you're going to keep seeing a lot of moves early on. Invictus also going for a lot of pressure. They're going for this top turret, dealing a lot of damage to it. This has been really commonplace for Asian teams as of recent, where they'll take that 2-on-1 matchup and turn it into a push lane instead of a zone lane.
Here comes Illusion from behind. The Dustbringer is out, so he has the speed. They're on to Shy. Here's the 3v1, but the counter gank won't be in. The turret is quite low. He could turn this around. Shy comes out with a kill in a 3v1 situation to run out. Now in pursuit is going to be Illusion, but they completely back off.
Oh, wow, and that was just a couple of missteps there. Corki managed to pull turret aggro. Everyone else kind of backing out long enough that Jack could just jump on. Knew that he could pin down Corki, leap onto that. Great kill picked up for Shy. That is a nice equalizer. The gold's still 300 behind. But Shy, you thought his lane was going to be bad, but now he's going to be in pretty good shape with gold picking up that kill for 300 gold.
And you got to notice that Cloud Templar was there by the time Shy reached the river on exit, so he was actually completely ready for that gank to go down. They're really, as I said before, playing in the minds of Invictus right now, but Invictus with that first blood still are 200 gold up.
This top lane actually is a little bit scary for Xiao Xiao. With Shy hitting level 6 right now, no, I guess Kid did show back up, but a 2-on-1, that could have been a potential jungle gank. You saw Cloud Templar come in support for a short time, but looks like that top lane once again be safe. This gank in mid though.
Mad Life is Azubu Frost now roaming the map. It looks like Zitai could fall, and he does go down to Rapid Star. Still more aggression from that bottom lane. Frost in the late game.
You know, they needed to get him to late game. 300 gold is nice, but now down 21 minions, that doesn't actually really keep up anymore. There's actually pressure at this top lane. Shen coming in.
Stand United is on. The taunt does not hit. Zenith plays very nice, leaving Kid on the outside to just continuously do damage. Cloud Templar flashes out of the situation, and Shy is forced to walk out as well. Very nice try there coming in, but wait, Illusion coming in. The counter gank once again. Shy is forced to run. He has nothing to jump to. The Dustbringer hits. Extra speed for Nocturne. Good job by Cloud Templar bringing himself back for that assisted jump.
That was really good play on both sides, and that is typical Illusion. Oh, here comes Zitai. He's going to find Cloud Templar. He's going to pick up one. Can he get the second? Oh, it is. Double kill coming out. That team roaming so much, picking up kill after kill. Invictus Gaming, the pressure is on. They've got their first turret kill. They're up 3-2 in kills. They're going to keep going.
Freak, you just said it. A clean wipe of the turret and a small minion wave down bottom. But it looks like they may just micro the damage in and out on this one if they lose it anyways. They're going to continue to attack. Illusion backs off. He trades the damage off here. And they are going to be able to grab a second turret. Now 10 minutes into the game.
This is absolutely the right play here, Invictus. Making the dives happen. 2 turrets. That is huge right there. There is a giant open window now. Shy is going to have a lot of trouble now dealing with this mid game. Now a really good ping by Azubu Frost. They know everyone's stuck on the other side. They get a free Dragon out of it, and that's nice. Dragon equalizes the gold lead that you get from picking off a turret. It makes that pretty much the same, but the loss of these structures sets up for some bad mid game. Oh my god. Wow. One after another. Can you get out of this one? Taking a lot of punishment here. This looks like it's going to be a trade kill, but a nice dunk onto Woong. This is just crazy now. Back and forth, these teams diving into fights over and over. Poor Woong actually had pulled turret, not turret, but Dragon aggro from the beginning from that, so he was very low on health, allowing that dunk to happen there. PDD, a nice pickup there. So back on that turret point though, there's a lot of now open map on the left-hand side. Side stays up top. He's very, very diveable. Expected to be very unsafe. Illusion will revisit that top lane a lot this game.
Now, Freak, how big does this factor in? Usually you see the bottom lane AD carries support, all bottom lane. That turret goes down first or mid. Now with that top lane down to the second inhibitor or second turret, now to the inhibitor, they can almost control Baron as well and just kind of farm that top lane down.
They can absolutely kind of put a lot of pressure and make the minion waves, give them a lot of map control overall. Exactly. The Baron, those turrets are gone on the Baron side. There's a lot of opportunities there for them. Oh my gosh, Xiao Xiao taking so much punishment diving into the turret.
Oh, so unfortunate.
Wow, what a kill picked up. Mad Life, the exact execution there, the pulverize, headbutting back into the turret. That was a great overall job. But now we've got a bad gank in mid.
Here comes Shen in as well. It's a 3v1, and they get their own gank. Cloud Templar onto Zitai. And there it is. They're just focusing on the aggression. They can find now, surgically removing them one by one.
Perfect moves overall. Exactly. really the focus here for the Azubu Frost early lineup is there is a lot of early aggressors. A lot of crowd control is available. Cloud Templar now twice has actually used Stand United before the fight starts, saying, I don't care about the shield, I want to show up out of nowhere, and just piggybacks on top of a friend, making it 3-on-1 out of nowhere every single time. He's really now the playmaker here. It's not counter ganks, it's just actual ganks. Cloud Templar is really the force right now for this early game Azubu Frost team.
So freak. Wow, Wound going down very low here. His mana just about the same, but the HP is not matching. The flash in, the last attack, the Ignite takes the auto attack to get it.
Nice job, Kid, making those plays. Notice that Wound burned his flash and said, you know what? I can land that one last missile. Did so. Excellent job. Let's see if they move on and push for some more advantages. They could go for turrets with a number advantage on the map.
You know, Freak, Kid may be amazing on Ezreal, and that's going to totally help him play against it in lane as well. So the factor to both sides, the dunk down, the kills just going back and forth right now. Cloud Templar to come in to help, but knows it's not enough.
That is again Illusion being so aggressive, teaming up there as well with PDD. This is Invictus Gaming. They will dive your turrets. You are not safe under your turrets. If you're going to play Invictus later on in this tournament, guys, your turrets are not safe. You've got to be careful. Their third turret kill now up. 6-5 in kills as well. Invictus keeping the pressure on.
Freak, it took him 9 minutes to take those two, but it only took him another 3 minutes to take that one. This is not looking good for Azubu Frost. They definitely have not stalled that aggression that's coming from Invictus Gaming. They've been able to come out way too strong on each one of their ganks. Azubu Frost is keeping them some in it with those inch-by-inch fights. We did see him just take down Swain in mid. Z-Tai got a little aggressive, but they were able to come in with Shen. So they have a lot of possibilities, but we're seeing that all in the late game, and right now they may not get there.
This is going to be risky. Now, they're only down 1,000 gold, so they're holding on more or less. Azubu Frost, you know, they're not defending themselves to the ganks all that well. These ganks are succeeding really on all sides, but at the same time, they're still making ganks of their own. They're still pushing themselves ahead. You can see, again, 5 kills picked up because of the plays being made by Azubu Frost. They're not down really any significant margin of gold, so they want to keep those pushes going. And the saving grace here for Frost is that they have a great late game lineup. Again, Jax and Vladimir, if they can get rolling, and they're starting to, they're finally picking themselves up in minions. Actually, Rapid Star beating his lane opponent in minions. Jax from Shy pretty close by as well, so they will continue to catch up throughout this game. And when we hit like the 35-minute mark, you're going to see just the general champion power actually shift over. I think actually the impetus is really on Invictus to make the plays right now and keep that pressure on.
So we actually have Wound going up and grabbing the blue buff. They don't really need it in mid so much. They don't really need it up top. And they're going to give it to Wound. He's down 2 kills, but he's up in CS. So they're really trying to gain the advantage back in this bottom lane. Still has perfect turrets on it.
And that's going to be really the next point of contention, I feel. With the 2 top turrets down, the first middle turret down, Invictus is going to look for their next big advantage, I think, at this bottom lane. I would expect to see some ganks coming through in the near future. Now, it's difficult to gank an Ezreal and an Alistar. There's a lot of crowd control and mobility still available, but they've still got a little bit of time with Wound's flash still down. Professional teams will time enemy summoner spells. And so, and it's really convenient too, because Kid flash at about the same time. Kid can easily time Wound's escape ability to say, okay, look, Flash is still down, Nocturne show up, let's make a 4-on-2, let's get some kills. I expect to see that if they want to go for this next turret.
And it's really what Invictus Gaming has been doing. They're playing inside the mind of Azubu Frost. The homework has really paid off for them, and these lanes are, even though not so much aggressive for Xiao Zhao and Kid bottom, they've been playing it wonderfully against the Alistar Ezreal that just came down there. We saw picking up a kill, Wound, or rather Kid for himself onto Ezreal. Wound trying to pressure. He has that blue buff. He should just be throwing out his spells.
And he is. He's poking as hard as he possibly can and getting a lot of damage out of it. This mid lane, once again, you can see that blue buff is so nice, especially for Z-Tai, who can spend his mana basically on health. That Raven form, his ultimate, it just makes, it sends these Ravens out, they deal a bunch of damage, and they return life back to him. And so it is so hard to shove him out of lane. He will keep being a force.
There's the Zenith Blade. Very nice headbutt, but they're coming in still. The pulverized wait, but Illusion is just on the outside, and the 3v1 comes in strong. Mad Life forced to walk out of this one.
That is, again, them timing that flash. It actually is coming up in the next 10 seconds. The Rapid Star taking the punishment in mid.
Z-Tai forced to go back on this one. Cloud Templar is everywhere, and this shows you if they can span these fights out long enough and continue to have Cloud Templar in it, they're really able to stop a lot. However, this time they get Dragon. Last time they were top taking turrets. This time they're going to go ahead and grab the objective and have the timer on that as well.
Really, really good for Invictus. This is proper gameplay as well. Whenever you remove an enemy champion from the map, you you want to do something for your team afterward. Getting a kill and picking up 300 gold and then going and farming, it doesn't help you all that much. Picking up a kill and killing 2 turrets, picking up a kill and taking away Dragon, that is a big boost in resources. They're now up, 2,400 gold because they're not just getting a kill, they're getting a turret and an objective afterward. You're going to keep seeing these teams throughout this tournament convert kills into something else over and over and over again. That's the proper way to play League at a top level.
So, Freak, we have actually some builds coming out here. Oh, down bottom, some aggression on Illusion. He catches himself out. Shy is also down there as the top lane is really nothing to be had, and Woong finds himself a kill.
That was excellent. They actually snuck through the brush there and waited and kind of baited out Illusion to show up. So, Woong is chilling, not a big deal, but everyone else waiting in the brush and diving out of nowhere, that's really big.
So pressure on the bottom turret as we see them taking top as well. Cloud Templar forced to flash, and that's going to be noted by the team. We just said they're keeping control of those summoner spells. It's down to that point where they have to know what's going to happen in these team fights.
And that just really sets them up still for this mid game. I don't think we're quite into full-on team fights just yet. I don't expect a lot of crazy pushes. There's not going to be a Baron attempt, but a lot of pressure at the top lane. Cloud Templar really getting shut down. PDD taking it down in a one-on-one. Burned his ultimate earlier to just get rid of the flash, and then said, great, I've got cooldowns, let's do this. Picking that kill up.
Very nice job, and just knowing mechanics of that champion, able to close the gap between Shen if he doesn't have enough energy, and just continue to beat down on him with that long range, and if he needs it, that Q. 6 to 8 at 18 minutes, Freak. 2,000 gold in the lead right after that Dragon in control of these turrets. Still holding off a shutout on turrets against Azubu Frost. Invictus Gaming has really came into this one strong. They haven't worried about the buffs in Azubu Frost jungle too much, but they're really controlling them once they're in the lane.
Exactly. They are just absolutely making a lot of great moves. Really, both these teams are. They've both kept the pressure on 6 to 8 to 18 minutes. They're constantly showing up for kills. Now, sometimes they're getting away with the skin of their teeth and they're surviving just at the last second, but these guys are obviously looking for lane fights over and over. They are trying to get into battles. They're trying to bully their opponents out of lane, picking that kill up. It's nice to farm minions, but you can farm champions. They're worth about 10 times as much, so why not do that instead?
So we do see the Wriggles Lantern onto Nocturne, a little objective focused as well as map control for him. That armor really helps just his build in general, especially against his team. You have the Shen, Jax, Alistar, and Ezreal. You're really only looking for Vladimir to with that AP damage. Jax a bit hybrid, but not going to factor into that huge fight too much. So you see the bottom turret going down. Invictus Gaming just globally roaming right now.
That's really strange. You don't see this very often. A 5-man just runs to a turret to pick up that kill, because here's the counterattack from Azubu Frost. It's a 2-on-0. This turret's taking a lot of damage, but looks like they're not going to keep the pressure on. They're worried about getting counter-ganked here, so they're going to actually just trade a turret for nothing. Really, really nice move by Invictus, reading their opponents, knowing there was no push available, at least not enough push available at the top, and they're still going as 5. They're going to look for another objective for us.
Freak, they really considered how much damage was in that lane. You have Vladimir and Shen, not exactly the greatest tower pushers in the world. Somebody throwing off a ghost there as they were getting away. Yep.
Again, this roaming squad actually working quite well, and I might have called it wrong. They're milling around near Baron. It seems really risky. I don't think they have quite the Baron damage overall. Okay, yeah, now you're seeing Leona recall back. They're going to be safe, but it's a nice little move, out of nowhere. Invictus Gaming is like, okay, normally people sit in lanes, they'll force a turret, they'll force an objective or something. It was like, guys, let's group up and flank someone. They actually showed up at the bottom turret, pushed that bottom lane away, picked up the kill there, and then just showed up as a team. The mid lane forced everyone else, Cloud Templar, Rocket Star, to run away. They burned Rapid Star's Ghost. They looked for Golem buff, and they're back to the lane. So, they spent 2 minutes roaming around the map. They picked up some advantages for it. Pretty good move.
Kid farming bottom still. The AD carries quite close, 171 to 167, but still those 2 kills for Kid. He is really helping himself out here. And Azubu Frost continues to roam. It looks like Mad Life is just hip and hip right now with Woong. He is not leaving him. And they are quite an aggressive group together, so they will go in onto some kills. Xiao Xiao trying to get a little bit of gold for himself here. Support's juggling.
Yeah, well, support getting some gold. It's really what these teams are doing, since the last year or so, is they've been really sharing the jungle as a team objective. You call one of the members on your team a jungler. His primary profession is sitting in the jungle, killing off minions and ganking for the side. But setting up more gold for your team is a really, really good move as well. Azubu Frost finding a kill here on PDD, possibly.
PDD knocked up. The crowd control is on, but that's a pretty tanky person to focus with your first amount of abilities. He's able to make it out, and they have Cloud Templar's ultimate down as well. So we could see Invictus Gaming looking to initiate a fight here.
they're really going to want to set up either a direct team fight or a split push here. With Shen's ultimate down, it's a lot of team fight pressure and a lot of split pushing lost there that they no longer have. And so it's really good for Invictus to force objectives in various places on the map, knowing that for the next about 2 minutes, Shen will not be showing up out of nowhere. This is kind of a go time here for Invictus.
You know, Freak, even without the Anivia, even without other champions that are going to spread out that fight, they still have Jarvan and Cataclysm someone out. Jumping over the wall, they see Shy up top. He is going to be forced to flash, but he was feared out first by Terror, and he may go down. The Ignite won't pick enough, but the follow-up may just do that for himself. A beautiful Corki missile, and they find Shy up top.
Once again, Invictus, as a team, roaming around and forcing their will on the opposition with Shy dead, they can absolutely go for pressure once more. They've pinged Baron. This really could be an entry. They've actually started at 22 minutes in.
Super well, they do have the Triforce finished, really relying on that. Oh wow, Wound getting crushed out! Not even a chance, and they go for Baron, Freak.
This is now, I think, the actual Baron. And the first time was they know they had some ward sweeping. You know, they sent Nocturne to sweep out with Oracles, no big deal. They knew they'd force the opposition to stop them, which just meant they could start a 5-on-4 with no real worries. The difficulty, though, is Z-Time's running a little bit low on mana, and it's going to be a 3-on-5. This could be very, very close here.
They're going to let him take as much damage as they can. They are just watching that bar of Baron right now. Mad Life on the outside. Rapid Start coming in, throws down the Hemo Plague. It's all with Baron still alive. He is just trading damage to the closest. They slay Baron Nasser. It goes to Azubu. And it looks like they are forced out of the fight, though. They lose 3 as they walk away. Invictus full team.
That was a really nice setup there by Frost. They focused the jungler. Oh my gosh, the True Shot Barrage is out! Shy getting chased on, but he shouldn't go down here. The 2-on-5 that Azubu Frost could win right now. Xiao Xiao really getting chunked down. Shy's gonna like his chances. Ultimately, it's a 3 for 1 with a Baron seal. I like that for Frost.
That was a really great job. A little miscommunication there by Invictus Gaming. Going in for the attack, we saw the Zenith Blade just separate himself way too much from the team. But with that, they will be quite close now in that gold, still at the 2,000 mark. They're down 3 turrets, so they're really closing this gold gap now around 25 minutes into the game. It's 13-7. Invictus Gaming coming out early with the first blood, coming out very early with just team roaming aggression. And once again, they will control the dragon. The first dragon going to Azubu, the second and third dragon to Invictus.
But this is going to be really, really big for them. The turret trade is a good move there. Shy knows he is safe. He's wearing Baron buff. His flash is down, but he knows that he's very, very strong right now in this game, trying to finish up that Trinity Force when he can. Overall, there's a lot of power in a lot of really good places. That Baron buff, the Baron kill really helps so much. While yes, they are down in kills, you'll expect to see many members on Azubu Frost negative in the kill-death ratio. They're keeping up in gold regardless. Again, it's an 1,800 gold difference, which is basically pennies at this point in the game. You've got to consider these teams on equal standing. The only real separation here is that actually Baron buff is being worn by 2 members of Frost. That's actually a pretty big deal. You're going to see to be a little bit bigger bullies in the fights right now. That might transition away, though, in the near future, because there's a lot of burst damage available on the other side here. Invictus, they're going to like their chances with Jarvan, Nocturne, and Leona. They're going to have a good chance here at shutting down Ezreal. There's really 2 to 3 major worries here on both teams. Azubu Frost needs to be worried about losing a squishy carry with the burst combos available on the other side. Invictus Game needs to be worried about the fact that there are 3 major threats. Vladimir, Jax, and Ezreal can all carry a game by themselves, and while their team is great at shutting down 1 champion, can they shut down 3?
So Freak, I feel like once this gets to turrets, once Azubu Frost isn't found with 1 or 2 people, you know, just walking around a turret, I think they're going to be able to hold these. If it's just the push that comes into the game, where is Invictus Gaming going to win if they have to start split pushing and really spreading themselves out thin?
Split pushing is not going to be the best answer for them overall. It's half decent because they have Nocturne to kind of segue from one lane to another without a lot of difficulty, but they're still against Shen, who's probably the prince of split pushing, second only to Twisted Fate, who actually takes a crown as king. But Shen is going to be able to, if Frost wants, he can split up to the side lane and push elsewhere.
And it's not even going to matter about the turret for Invictus as Azubu goes in. A great True Shot Barrage going through, and it's going to be too close quickly for Azubu. The turret isn't even a factor in this fight. A double kill coming in for Wound, and they will focus now onto the turret.
That was a great aggression there. They knew they had Shen waiting in the wings. Alistair starting that fight properly. Madlife living up to his name. He's an aggressive player. Really likes jumping into those fights. This could be a really good push for Frost.
That was such an extended initiation. Shirelius needed to get in with 3 or 4 steps before Alistar. It was so telegraphed to the team, but it still caught Invictus off guard. They were just not ready. They had not seen that type of aggression yet in this game from Azubu Frost.
Yeah, that was an all-out engagement that was really a one-of-a-kind sort of attempt here by Frost. And the good thing for them was they shut down Zetai right away. He actually got pulverized back into the lineup, was killed off with True Shot, Barrage, and Ignite. That's exactly what they want to do. There are a lot of damage sets here on Invictus, just like there are on Azubu Frost. But chief among them is going to be the heavily farmed Zetai, he's got Rod of Ages, he's got Sorcerer's Shoes done, and he's almost got his Abyssal Scepter. When that's completed, he's going to be tanky. He's going to be putting out a lot of damage, and he's going to be fighting opponents with no magic resist, making him continue to do a lot of damage and keep his health bar sustained. Azubu Frost is very melee heavy. You can kind of consider Vladimir a mid-range mage. He's going to be in range of auto attacks from the opponents. So everyone but Ezreal is going to be subject to the damage output from Zetai. And that's going to be a very big risk here, and it's going to be the focus, I think, of the match from now on. It's all about Zetai.
So we do see Invictus Gaming coming in now, a 3 Aegis build.
Triple Aegis? Seriously?
Triple Aegis.
They went triple Aegis. These guys want to be tanky. They really, really do. I don't know if it's communication or they just really like the stats on it.
That will benefit each person, though, with an Aegis to the other Aegis.
Yeah, so those 2 champions will have basically a double Aegis aura. Right. They'll get 16 attack damage, 36 armor, and 48 magic resist, but still, that's pretty rough overall. We've got a replay set up, though, of that prior fight between just what went down. He has a jump top, the slow-mo initiation, Alistair jumping in, gonna just do as much damage as possible, pop the ultimate, and just go to the all-out attraction. You can see Swain just dropping way too fast, and now there's not enough damage output really available. Corki has to come in from the side all too late. His teammates are already dead. It was ultimately somewhat of a 5-on-4 with too much aggression early on.
So Azubu Frost getting a little bit of a flame behind them there. Will they be able to melt the competition now? 30 minutes into the game, 13-10. Those 2 kills, 3 kills that they were able to get in that last fight are really bolstering that gold. Now they're 42,000 to 40,000 as they've taken the lead there. 5 turrets to 4. Azubu Frost now in the lead once again with that statistic. It's all like they turn this game around in a matter of 3 minutes.
It was just a couple of good engagements was all it took. Madlife really taking the initiative there, and a great mechanic. Oh, but we're getting jumped on right here.
Forced to get out of that, and the ultimate from Illusion out to him. The paranoia makes it. He does keep with it, and he sticks into follow-up his shot. They lose another one. It's now 1-for-1 in the battle. Swain coming out very big. You can see Zetai hardly taking any damage with that sustain, and he gets a double kill. Chasing down Madlife, an ultimate finish from Kid, and it's now on to Cloud Templar, the slow, not affecting him enough, and they make it out into 3-1.
No,
4-1.
4-1,
yeah.
exactly. PDD, you are your team's new MVP. 20 seconds ago, I was like, Zetai has got to do well in the fight, and it's going to be great. Nope, PDD out of nowhere. Full dunk combo onto Ezreal, followed up by Leona, and followed up by Nocturne. Those champions, those 3 working together every single time, trying to shut down Woong, trying to kill Ezreal. Every single time now, most of the time now, it's actually been working. When they're able to put their combos down, the AD carry drops off. And without that dedicated source of single target damage, they don't have an easy way of removing Zetai from the lineup anymore. He's so kiteable. He can deal damage while running with that ultimate. It just deals damage for him, so he can kite Jax. Rapid Star, he's area of effect based on Vladimir. He can't shut down a single target. He helps the entire team. And when your big single target damage source from Ezreal is out of the fight, and Shy on Jax can't really chase down the target he wants, Zetai's gonna have free reign. So those 2 working together, making those fights happen. They need one more team fight like that. If they can control Baron, they're really going to be in the advantage. But right now, it's a tie game.
You know, Freak, we've really seen definitive gameplay from both teams up until this 30-minute mark. We have Azubu Frost just coming in, full 5-on-5 fights when we saw them. They dove under the turret. Now, this could be a huge problem for Invictus Gaming. Each one of their fights has started catching somebody out in a quick 75% health burst, and then they're able to take the fight without that person being in it. So these 5-on-5s, we said it earlier, it's a late game team from Azubu Frost, and if Invictus Gaming starts to lose their jungle that much more, they will not have the Fog of War to work with.
And there's a couple of good things happening here for Azubu Frost as well. They picked up a Chain Vest and Negatron Cloak here onto Woong. His item build is Trinity Force Last Whisper. Oh crap, I need durability! And he's going for that. And if he can, and that's all he really needs. He just needs enough damage. He can rely on Trinity Force Last Whisper for a long time and just rely on base damages and Triforce procs to deal all the damage he needs. He just needs to survive that dunk team because the late game is so good from Frost. You need to withstand the early burst and then just team fight well. If he's alive, if that initial burst doesn't kill anyone, they can DPS with the time heal. They're really relying on the time to stand a 5-on-4. If they don't have that, it's really good for Frost.
Looks like double Triforce as well being finished for Invictus Gaming. A very, very tanky, but mostly Glass Cannon Swain, except for that Abyssal Scepter giving him a little bit of magic resistance. He's got a lot of health to sustain the fights. Like you said, Freak, he is just walking around wreaking havoc in those. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sure. Basically, the big decision point here with the needlessly large rod is this going to be Death Cap or is it going to be Zhonya's Hourglass? Death Cap says that he feels safe and he just wants to be that hyper carry, and that's a possibility here. They've been doing a pretty good job in fights overall. Zhonya says, you know what? I'm still worried about their burst. I'm worried about Jackson Ezreal, and you're going to see what decision he goes for. It'll kind of tell you how he's feeling about this match. Whether he feels safe or whether he feels pressured. So we'll get a little bit of glimpse into his psychology in the very near future.
See him once again going back and forth in the jungle with a little bit of vision. That says we have enough to do Baron. A 33-minute attempt at 17-11. The gold lead is pretty much even. They gain a 2,000 jump with that. And it looks like they are on the upper hand now. A 4-minute pause button to Invictus Gaming. Big for Azubu Frost. They are good on the fight under the turret. They're more than happy now to do it with Baron. And that regeneration and strength that they get, Freak, this is going to be a very big push.
This is going to be the really, really big attempt here. This will be a game-defining battle here. That middle turret is down, so the inhibitor is free for them. I don't even think Invictus can really defend here. I think they'll lose if they go into a fight without some kind of perfect initiation.
Oh, great arcane shift and leaves Xiao Xiao in there by himself. A perfect use of abilities, but they trade 1-for-1 again. DDP coming in, or PDD use huge coming in. A good job by Cloud Templar focusing on the Nocturne, and it looks like this fight heavily going in favor of Azubu Frost. No, the turnaround. They catch out Vladimir and Jax. The double kill as they chase down Mad Life. I don't think he's going to be able to make it out. They do have the proc from the phase on Triforce, and the triple kill for Kid.
#1 team fight call, NA. Invictus Gaming just showing up. Again, that dunk combo, I thought with Ezreal having a Negatron Cloak and Chain Vest that he would have been okay there. Turns out, not the case. There's just too much damage. PDD going for so much. He's got the Trinity Force and Hexbreaker. He is so deadly here.
Sick little dodge there, putting on his Nikes and lacing him up. PDD faking out Cloud Templar for a trade in damage. He's not really hurt right now, but he's just getting harassed around as they take down his turret. Nothing to do there, and a little bit of a rebuttal after an overzealous fight there from Azubu Frost, which I thought they had quite easily.
I really thought so too. They were up in gold. They had the Baron buff. Looks like they could have closed that out, but now they're really paused until Guardian Angel is done. Of course, as I say that, Guardian Angel is done now on Ezreal. Now Woong might finally be tanky enough to withstand the burst combo. There's no guarantee though. The one thing you've got to worry about is with Guardian Angel, you won't die right away. You'll revive a few seconds later, but you only come back with 750 health. If there are cooldowns back time for Invictus, 750 health is nothing for Trinity Force, Jarvan, and a Nocturne. So if they can initially dunk and chunk down onto Ezreal and kill off Woong from Azubu Frost, they're still going to be fine. But all the resistances that he has now, he's running 150 armor, 128 magic resist. Honestly, I feel like finally he's actually going to be hard enough to kill, but who knows? If IGP keeps scaling up, if they can keep over-damaging his defenses, that's going to be the make or break point here. Can Woong die?
You know, you can tell that at least Kid right now is having fun. He's completely set up his items exactly like Woong has throughout the inventory. He actually moved around the Negatron Cloak as he bought it. So these guys still mentally in the game, but still composed as well. They're not down. They don't feel down on each other. They're really ready to play here in the championship. And they are just doing a perfect job. Right now, they are 9 kills ahead of Azubu Frost, and the gold is only a 400 gold difference. Barons and turrets have been taken down. Dragon Control has went back and forth. I believe it's at 2-2 now, and we are just seeing an amazing game here between the two of Asia's best teams.
This is such an all-star match overall. I've loved everything that has happened so far in this game. The Baron steal from Azubu Frost really putting them back into the mix. I mean, they're 2-0 on Baron. It's crazy here. There's pressure really everywhere on the map, and the teams are very different in their team fight strategies as well. So it's just a mix of different styles the whole way through. And so, you know, it's going to be difficult here for Frost. You know, if Ezreal can live, that's a big deal. If he really can't, I think they're going to have to rely on Shy. And the pressure's on him. It's difficult because he's the newest member of that roster. We talked in the intro about Loco Doco leaving that team for Startail, and they had to bring Woong down. Well, the replacement for Woong's top lane was Shy. And, you know, his name, it's actually fitting just like with Rapid He's a little bit more timid of a player. You know, the pressure's been on him the entire time. Could he fill Woong's shoes in the top lane? He's got to do it here if they want to win this match.
Quick jump on and then never move on to Jack. Now, Freak, we just saw Invictus Gaming win a huge fight. Let's talk a little bit about why that open inhibitor is actually keeping them from pushing any farther.
So the difficulty here is ultimately that anything can turn into a bad aggression here, but a fight's going to start here by Dragon.
Xiao Xiao going down. He may get quite hurt. He tries to jump back to his teammates. Zitai coming up with a kill, but he is falling fast. Xiao Xiao falls right there as well. The 1-for-1 coming out, and it looks like they will continue to pressure on this fight. A double kill coming up top for Shy as he puts himself in the middle. Illusion going down as well, and they are continuously fighting this one in the jungle. I think that's hurting them a little bit. The vision is back and forth denied, and it comes out very big in the side of Azubu Frost. Kid looking to finish off one more kill. A great arcane shift out of the Gatling helps him to stay alive. The Arcane Angel is still up.
This is so good now for Frost and Woong. Finally surviving the beginning of a fight. IG spent all their effort killing off Rapid Star's Vladimir, and that was a lot of damage. But when you have a living Ezreal with items in the background belting out damage, you can see they actually were able to kill off Zitai. Shy just went in there, picked up a double kill early on. Really one of the major impetuses here. It's a 3-on-1 in the base. IG needs to respawn to keep the Nexus alive.
Xiao Xiao just trying to pull the damage through himself, but Woong focused right on that Nexus turret. Drops the first one. And Freak, I think this would be a great time to just talk about how this is opening up the base.
This is really now a very open scenario here. You can't really let if IG goes for a Baron and tries to sneak it, Azubu Frost can just kind of dive in and just run down the mid base and win it for free. They've got to be very careful about exactly what happens here because Invictus has a base in shambles. Only one turret keeps their Nexus alive. They've got to kind of sit near mid at all times. The first thing they have to watch for is the minion wave in the mid lane. They can't let it shove back to the base. If the minions are there, they're just going to dive right in and close the game out. They've got to spend a lot of effort shoving these minions away. That gigantic super minion you can see shoving this mid lane is a very, very big threat here. They've got to keep those killed and keep that wave outside their base.
We see Woong now picking up some finalized items. We'll see what he goes back to build here. Xiao Xiao and Illusion grabbing up some buffs. Or rather, that was raids. And moving into mid, it's just Alistar, Jackson, Vladimir hanging out right now. We do have a replay of that last fight to really just see what happened at Dragon.
And pay special attention to Shy. The MVP here on Jackson. Education goes off a little bit caught here, but they're going to turn back around and go for the damage out. But look at the burst coming down, picking up that kill. But they just check it out. Shy in the front. Damage, damage, damage the whole way through. You see them trying to flash out, trying to stay alive, but it just does not matter. He is wrecking everybody's day right here. Cloud Templar as well in the front line, taunting everyone together. And you can see Kid trying to help out, but he's not quite able to.
As they all quickly move back into position, the pings are going down. Freak, Baron is up, and this is the Baron dance. Who brought their shoes and who's ready to go for the longer amount of time? You see some movement from both teams. Invictus trying to move in is Azubu coming from the top. They will come from the bottom. Xiao Xiao getting hit with a mystic shot there. They will be able to tell. Looks like they're pulling the loop around. I believe it was Counter Logic Europe that did this, faking the Baron and loop around, but there's vision on it. So it's not going to play as much of a role as it did in that previous game. The Guardian Angel onto Jarvan is up. Woungs is up as well. So this fight is going to go for a little bit longer than usual with a special focus on those champions. Ezreal is going to be in the back of this fight, Freak, as they try to start it off. The dance goes out, and it looks like IG is trying to bait this one out, saying, yeah, we're taking it. But with the long-range initiation, they know not to. Jarvan jumps in, but it's on Alistar. The ulti goes off from him, mitigating so much damage. They jump onto Zitai. The Zonius goes off. Who will they focus next? Illusion is quite low as well. Zitai will fall. Kid goes down. Mad Life, Illusion, they're all falling. And it is going to be a huge pickup here. Another one goes down. DDD left with a sliver of health.
Surviving up with the Guardian Angel, trying to jump over the wall. Looks like a flash from Cloud Templar. Can he chase down PDD here? But it doesn't much matter. See, the minions are dead now. They've actually killed the turret on the Nexus. Woong's gonna dive in for the base.
They do have Wound going. Shy and Templar are right behind as they chase from mid. He's going to be by himself though, taking down the Nexus. The first game of the day. It does not daunt Azubu Frost. Azubu Frost will defeat Invictus Gaming.
Good job, Azubu Frost breaking that curse. Damage goes out. There's the kill. Next falls Azubu Frost starting up the World Championship 1-0, proving himself to be that favorite.
An amazing game and one that really faltered for Azubu Frost in the beginning. Invictus had many tricks up their sleeve, but those instances weren't brought into the team fights. They said, we know how to team fight.